It's go time. Hello, welcome to the BodPod. I'm your host, Rose Bennett. It is so nice to have you here with us today. If you are just joining us, welcome. Oh my God, I'm so glad you are here. This podcast is a big love up. It's a love up from me to you. We talk about women's empowerment, body positivity, sobriety, motherhood, my business, BDYPos, and all amazing things that are valuable. And yeah, it's a bit of fun. I also tend to ramble on a little bit and divulge the secret parts of my life, but I do it with love. I am a big believer that vulnerability is a superpower. So basically, BDYPos is a way for me to heal my own crippling self-doubt, but also to share with others the things that really make a difference for me, which is an amazing segue into this episode because today I had something different scheduled for the BDYPos. I was going to, and I still will, do an episode talking about tuning into the younger version of ourselves, and I'd like to reintroduce Fat Roll Titty, who is who I was when I was in high school, and although that name used to put shivers down my spine, now I've decided that I'm going to do a Britney and be like, I'm Fat Roll Titty, bitch. And yeah, so I'm going to own that, and I'm excited to take you through that journey. But today, something happened this morning, and I thought, after all of the times I've raved on about, being vulnerable for you to show you that you're not alone, today was a slap in the face, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to have to bring this to the community because I know I'm not alone when this happens. And although it was an experience for me, I'm going to share it because I believe that I need everyone to know up front, uncoiling decades of self-loathing and believing that telling yourself and being told that you aren't good enough to meet this unrealistic societal pressure to be a certain way, it's so hard. And although I'm on this BDYPos journey and I am, leading this community of women saying it is okay and now's our time to be free and we no longer need to comply with this bullshit and we should honor ourselves as we are. And in fact, the real truth that's being covered from us is that women naturally come in all shapes and sizes. It's just a fact. Women fluctuate. It's a fact. Our bodies and hormones and biology are incredible. And parts of that include the fact that we change shape regularly and we are soft and comfy for reasons, for biological reasons. These are all facts. Anyway, so yeah, although I'm on this journey and that's what I preach, it is because I struggle with this every day. And just because I have a body positive brand and an empowering brand, it doesn't mean that I am now magically healed. In fact, I'm on this journey and probably will be for life because of the amount of years I've spent in the other end of it and in the completely dark, isolated, self-loathing place. So this story is just to remind you all that this shit happens to me too, and that we are not, the journey to self-love is a journey, but what we need to do is we need to recognize when the bullshit is knocking on the door, but we need to open the door anyway. So I'm scared to share. I don't want to look like a fool or an idiot. I feel very vulnerable because I lead a body positive brand and I have a small frame, and I think to myself, women must think, how the fuck would she know what it's like? Well, I've been many sizes. I have shrunk myself down to a size 6. How? Mostly from taking a lot of cocaine and doing drugs. And I've also gone up to a size 16. And how? Because I've lived really unhealthy lifestyle and treated myself like crap. Drank a lot of beer and ate nothing but white bread because that's all I could afford because I was spending all my money on beer. So I've been around a little, but also yeah, I get worried that people will think, or, how does she know? She looks relatively thin. Does she have an eating disorder? All of these things, I fear the opinions, but then I remember that your opinion of me is none of my business. And the whole purpose of this platform, I feel, is for me to say, hey, I deal with this shit too, but here are the things that make me feel better. And I hope that maybe they can make you feel better too. So that is what I do. And therefore, I've always got to show up on the rough days so that you can see I'm here, it's real, and you're not alone. And that's tough for me, but you're worth it, baby. You're so worth it. All right, so this morning. So historically, for myself, throughout fluctuating weight and anxiety, I have depressive anxiety. I have a really bad habit of obsessing, being very obsessive. And this includes when you have a negative outlook on yourself and you have negative self-talk, obsessively doing so. And so it's hard to get out because it's really tough. It's tough. But I struggle, and I have developed tools along the way that help me. And one of those tools is I don't weigh myself on the scales, because the rule is that the scales don't actually matter. They don't reflect my worthiness. And after obsessively weighing myself for many years, chasing happiness once the needle moves a little lower, I realized that every time I got a little lower, when I got down to a size 6 or 8 or 10 even, or as I am now, 10 to 12, it doesn't change anything. The weight is not the goalpost. Shrinking because you're thinking that once I get skinny, everything will be better and I will finally feel happy with myself. It's a myth, babe. And I'm here to tell you, you can chase skinny all you want. You get there through unhealthy means, you're going to feel just as bad and start obsessing over different parts. The obsession moves. You don't feel better. You don't get better. And so I shouldn't have weighed myself in the first place this morning. I know I shouldn't have, but I did it anyway. Why? I don't know. It's January. I was feeling interested. It's just like when you justify having a drink or justify having the last chocolate or whatever it is. You're like, it's okay. It's okay. I know I probably shouldn't, but you know what? I've been all right. I've been good. I can have a look. And I just fucking did it. And yeah, no surprise, of course. I'd put on a couple of kilos. And this could be from many different things. I'm in the middle of my cycle. So yeah, I will have put up on a couple kilos that has nothing to do with anything. And I'm not actively, dieting or trying to lose weight or maintain a weight. I go to the gym every day because my mind, my mental well-being is extremely benefited by being active. I am night and day difference. If I'm active, it makes me feel like I've done something, an achievement. It gives me dopamine. It makes me feel proud, makes me feel like I'm living my best life. Plus, obviously, all of the energy level you get from being active. I don't go there trying to shred or do anything. I go there to move my body. I go there for me time. I go there because doing tough things makes me feel resilient and a badass. Achieving little challenges makes me feel like I can do hard things, makes me proud of myself. And these are all subjectively not impressive things. But in my mind, when I do a little longer run or I lift a little heavier, I go, fuck yeah. And it makes me feel good. And I go to the gym every day because of that. Because for me, it's a non-negotiable. It's my healing time. And yes, but in saying that, I still don't weigh myself because it's not about my weight. The gym also is not about my weight. It's about my well-being. And anyway, I did it this morning and bang, a couple of kilos. And it just threw me. And again, I am in the middle of my period, but regardless of that, I felt grim and low and shitty with myself. And I kept immediately thinking, oh my God, what should I do? I'll cut this out. I'll start eating here. I'll do that. and all of those bad habits just immediately descended upon my brain, and I felt absolutely miserable. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, shut up, bitch, it's fine. You know it's fine. But for some reason today, I had a landslide. And that happens, right? It happens. Some days we just fucking landslide, and I did. I was just going through this cycle, and I started to get really overwhelmed, and I was like, I'll always be battling this, and I'll never get ahead, and I thought I'd come so far, and I just went real heavy real quick. And it was a shit show, and I felt miserable, and I want you to know that because I know that it's common. And this is talking to you today is healing me this morning, because I know you've done it too. I know that we do it. I know I've done it in the past. And that brought me a bit of peace. Acknowledging that the emotional whirlwind that was unfolding, actually I identified it as a separate thing. That some days in this beautiful life, we simply can't cope. And I couldn't cope. Now, the other thing about this is my scales are biometric scales. They give you a reading of all these different measurements like skeletal mass index and water index and muscle versus fat and these types of things. And when I went through the charts, it actually turns out that most of that gain was muscle anyway, which is awesome. But it didn't make any difference. It didn't make me feel any better. I still, all of a sudden in my mind, just felt like a fat piece of crap. No, that's not the truth. No, that's not reality. But that's how I felt. And then knowing that it was a muscle, not fat, not even that fact, clear as day, could pull me out of the shit show that my tizzy little mind was throwing. And I just thought, and that made me feel shit too. I felt like I was just stuck. Anyway, so I pondered on it for a while and moped about and sat in my pity party. And then I started thinking about BodPod, the brand, and, how unfair it was for me to be sulking. And actually, there's so many things that I preach that I could start implementing in this moment. So I started to think to myself, like, if you had a woman in your community behaving like this, what would you do? Well, I said to myself, I would look at her and tell her that she was a fine, sexy, strong bitch, and that I loved the way she laughed and smiled. I loved how caring and supportive she was of her community, that she was such a good mum and such a hard worker. And although a bit of a quirky bitch, she does some pretty impressive things. And I was giving myself this rap, and I was trying to give myself comments and compliments that weren't physical attributes, but rather all the other amazing things that I am. Because I am not my body at the end of the day. I mean, it's a great vessel and it's a lot of fun, if you know what I mean. Like, having a body is pretty good. So that's also a compliment. But I was trying to steer clear of the fact, that I somewhere deep down inside still had the ability to view my weight as my value. Anyway, so I gassed myself up for a little while thinking about the things that I do well and that I have got. And then I started to think about the fact that, I do struggle some days. Because when I realized I was being irrational, when I realized that even with the facts laid in front of me, that I was being completely irrational, but I still couldn't get myself out of the slump because I'd already committed to it, I suppose. I was already feeling grumpy, and I couldn't lift that mood so quickly. But I thought maybe I should be holding space for this and going, okay, today's a bad day. But the only difference between the bad days and the good days is my mindset. In fact, my weight is irrelevant, and probably over one day to the next doesn't change that much. But my mindset does. And so the clear storyline here is that you can be standing in front of the mirror on day number 1. And you can be standing in front of the mirror on day number 2. One day, on day 1, you can be feeling disgusting. You can be looking at every part of your body and you can be judging it and slaying her and just completely trashing the woman in front of you. And on day number 2, you can look at her and be like, fuck yeah, bitch, you're awesome. And you can gas her up and love her and say, look at that mummy tummy, look at the beautiful journey you've been on. How awesome is it to be an honorary member of the club of women, that we have these amazing bodies that can provide and hug and love, and even women without babies, and just those women's bodies are still just as gorgeous and beautiful and strong and curvaceous. And these two people standing in front of these mirrors on these days are exactly the same person. It's exactly the same body. The only difference is the way she's talking to herself. And that is the reality that she's going to project and experience. It all starts with self-talk and self-belief. And today my belief was a shit show, but that doesn't mean I can't change it tomorrow. And that does not mean that I have to then resign myself to just throwing away every beautiful aspect of me and my life because I felt miserable in this moment. When I realized that the power to stop feeling like shit about my weight, the freedom, the key to the exit of that horrible state lied in my mindset. It lied in me having the ability to reset and say, no more time. No more time on this. No more energy to this beast. I'm not feeding this fucking beast any more of my energy when I could use that energy to think about another shirt design for my queens to make them feel good about themselves. Not another minute moping. And if it was you, perhaps it was like, no, I'm not going to spend another moment of my precious time, another bar of my precious energy, moping about this when my body, in fact, I've just decided it is awesome exactly the way it is, and I'm going to channel that energy into this hobby that I really like, renovating my home, painting a picture, going to the gym to feel like a badass, to chase strength, not skinny. Maybe it's I'm going to use this energy to take my kids to the fucking beach today, and I'm going to show them how much fun it is to run into the waves. And all I'm going to focus on is my beautiful children, the sun and the water and the sky, and nothing else matters. We're going to take our energy from that place and redivert it. We're going to honor and say, okay, yeah, today I've had a slide. I've had a shit show slide, a shit slide. Today I've had that. I accept that. It happens. And, I guess we also have to hold space for the fact, annoying as it is, that we are constantly battling a myriad of demon hormones that like to fucking run wild and give us a run for our money. Like, it's so annoying. And I feel, not to play the victim card, but I hate that I'm subjective to my invisible hormones and that they make my life difficult or make it more difficult to process without feeling elite rage and the need to scratch out eyes. No, it is true. I was going to say it's a bit excessive, but you know what? Sometimes I do. But that I know is my hormone rage, and it shits me to no end that as a woman, I just have to suffer through that. But at the same time, we all do, and so respect women. It's a club, right? We can band together, and we know. But anyway, so I just, yeah, so some days we have hormones come and, be assholes and make it even harder. But because that's part of life, I choose to just accept it and say, okay, perhaps my hormones fucked with me today. Perhaps today was just a bad day. There's other things going on in my life. And I slipped up and my well-being took a dive, but I got myself out. And I did so by accepting where I was and deciding, okay, I'm here at the bottom of the slide, but it's time to get up now. And I'm going to redirect my energy into the good shit. And so I did that. And I've had a fucking banging day ever since. I've had a brilliant day. And it all was from pivoting my energy from the dirty beast toward my beautiful goodness. And that has taken practice as well. And also, not just practice, but understanding myself, learning my moods, and being kind about it. Learning that I need to hold space for those bad moments. They are what they are. And that's a fact of my life. With my mental health and with my history of mental health, I'm going to have days where it's really hard for me. But I know that I've been working on the best version of myself for a few years now, and I'm stronger. And so even if you're starting today, just know every day you get stronger. You get stronger and you start to know yourself. And when you start to be kind to yourself and forgive yourself for these instances, because you can start, historically I could get in a really bad spiral where I'd fuck up, whether it be actually fuck up, as in get wasted and do something terrible, or have a day where I felt physically hideous, and then I would hate myself, and then I'd hate myself for hating myself, and I'd feel weak and stupid, and I'd be like, oh, and I'd get in this rut, and it'd play over, and I'd obsess over and over in my head, and it would just go on, and ugh, gross. So I used to punish myself for not feeling good about myself, but now that I know that I've been that way, when I feel bad about myself, I go, okay, that's done. I recognize that that's a behavior, and the behavior can be unlearned. And I implement my tools. And if I can't do it as quickly as saying, okay, I'm going to start self-talk my mind. I'm going to make my self-talk in my mind positive, and like I did today, start thinking about other things that I have that are good, that are nothing to do with my physical appearance, or taking myself away from it. There's other things I can implement. It's going for a walk, which is upsetting the pattern. Go outside and name 3 things you can see, you can smell, you can hear. It might be pausing everything and starting my self-care routine. Bath, sauna, change my bed sheets, wash my hair. These acts I don't need to think about, but I just go through the motions with the theme that I'm doing self-care. Cup of tea, face mask. Maybe it's going to the gym, getting out of the house, changing the environment. There's all of these things that I've learned over time help stop my thought pattern and shift it to something else. Something that's self-loving, not self-hating. So, yeah, if you're going to start your journey toward self-love, it is a journey. It takes time. And here I am building an empire built on body positivity and women's well-being, and I still struggle. I'm still struggling with it. And I want you to know that. And what I really want you to know is that I feel the fear, but I do it anyway. I feel scared and insecure and not self-loathing anymore, but self-aware. I feel anxious, but I move forward. I do it anyway. And the more you practice being brave with yourself, the stronger you get. And little by little, we are able to do bigger, grander things, like saying all of this shit on camera and then putting it on the internet. And that's taken practice. Yeah, and the ability for me to turn myself around today from that place of darkness, not reaching for a drink or deciding to make myself disappear, but rather going, okay, I need to initiate my tools and implementing those tools and then showing up here to tell you about it. And now I feel proud and happy and healthy, and I don't give a fuck now. Like this morning when I was like, oh, look at the scales. Oh my God, 2 kilos. Well, now I don't give a shit. So that's how quickly I've been able to turn it around in the matter of today, and that's a place you can get to too. That's a place you can get to by just consciously moving toward the self-love journey. Start looking for ways, looking for information for you to recognize when you're having your negative self-talk, when you're having limited beliefs like I'll always be this way, I'm no good, and changing those thoughts into our growth mindsets like I believe that I can be confident, I believe that I deserve a better life, I believe I can be happy. Opening up those thoughts instead of closing them off, things will begin to change, and you will get to a place like this too. And you may still have hard days, but you will. Hard days are part of life. Life in its glory is full of twists and turns and hard days, but it's not about what the situation is. It's about how we deal with it. And the key to success in dealing with these tumultuous situations lies in our mindset and lies in our ability to think positively and proactively. So the key to success and happiness and liberation and freedom for us all lies within our mental well-being and our mindset, just the same as the trigger to our destruction, self-loathing, and shitstorms also lies in our thoughts towards ourselves, in our self-talk. It's all in the mind, baby. And again, that's why we need to understand, if you think, oh my God, I'm going to go on a weight loss journey because I'm going to be a size 8 and then I'll be happy, that's not going to work. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to work. Instead, maybe it's I'm going to go on a self-love journey, and wherever my body lands is where it will be. But I'll know in my heart I'm doing my best to be the best version of myself by eating well, by keeping active, exercising for strength of mind and strength of body. And then this will be my new lifestyle, and my body will fall where it falls on the scale, but that's not reflective of my badassery or my overall awesomeness, because I know I'll be doing all the best things for me. That's the goal, baby. That's what we should be aiming for. Yeah, okay, well, there's my story. What did we learn? Don't get on the scales. No, look, you do what you want, but for me, it was just a wake-up call. But all in all, a great experience, and pretty fucking good content too. Very relevant. I want you to know I'm going to share with you because I want you to know you're not alone. And I want you to know that I'm not some gimmicky bitch that doesn't get it. I'm here. And yeah, I truly believe that my journey, if it can help me, twisted fuck, if it can help me, it can help you too. So the way I clawed through today, through those mindset hacks, just try it, babe, and let me know how you go. I hope it helps. So that's it for today. I hope that wasn't too much. But you know what? My biggest love to you, babe. If that hits home for you and that's something that you resonate with, I want you to know that I send you my love, because I know it's fucking tough. But I also want you to know that you've got this. You have got this, and I've got your back. Until next time. Mwah.